Hopefully you can tell it's quite windy. It's a beautiful West Coast day. We were hoping for a slightly nicer weather, but it looks like we're going to get a classic Vancouver rainy weekend. We're on the way to the Pokémon Regional Championships. I was originally kind of hoping to participate just for the sake of it, just for fun, with zero expectation of doing well.
Okay, sounds like we're gonna have to do a little bit of this in the studio. But yeah, I did consider competing for a bit, but because the competition day starts so early, I would have had to either get a hotel close to the venue or rent a car, and it just wasn't really worth the cost.
Unfortunately, no competing, but I'm still looking forward to just spectating, just like see what it's like. I've never been to one of these events before, so.
Thankfully, the weather was not as bad as the forecast made it seem. In the evening of Friday after we arrived, we went for dinner with some friends in Steveston, a historic fishing village that is now a tourist destination and has also served as the set for several TV shows. If you watched Once Upon a Time, you may recognize this street, and we saw a beautiful sunset there. On Saturday morning, we headed to Canada Place, the Vancouver Convention Centre. The Pokémon Regionals weren't taking place in the same building that we're used to going to for other conventions, so we actually got a little bit lost, but eventually we found our way there, and after checking in with our spectator passes, we went to look around the venue. Of course, there were major battles being streamed, there were consoles where you could play various games, some modern like Legends, but also some vintage ones like Pokémon Stadium, Pokémon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, and Pokémon Puzzle League, which I had never played before and I really struggled with. Indigo did okay though.
I didn't know what I was doing. Yes, I was just lucky. You were right, Gary. Thank you, Gary, for calling me out.
There were also tables and tables of single Pokemon cards for sale, and we couldn't resist.
So you bought some cards?
Yes, probably too many, but they were so pretty.
Well, let's see.
So, this is my poll. So there's Roxy, very cool card.
That is a really cool art, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd seen that before. Sweet, what else you got?
And next is...
Really adorable Mimikyu.
Oh yes, and you can see that Isarol is fixing a little stitch on it. It's
Yeah.
so cute.
Alright, there's more?
And then the next one.
Gardevoir, classic Indigo.
Yes, this is my favorite Pokemon, in case anyone was wondering. And then I got 2 gifts for Libris. Lovely Carta copycat. And impersonating all sorts of different people.
Well, yeah, all the Galar people plus Ethan, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, this is such good art.
Finally, for the content, for the branding.
Umbreon with Karen. Also really nice art.
Yeah.
We got really lucky because just as we came back from lunch, Adi Subramanian was about to go on stage to have his round 5 match streamed. I actually had just interviewed Adi for a video that will be out next week, so I was rooting for him. It was a really good match, and if you didn't watch the streams on the day of the event, I recommend you go back and watch them. Adi won his set and actually went on to qualify for day 2 without dropping a game, which is really cool. We left a bit before the end of the day to go get dinner with some friends, but on Sunday morning, we tried to arrive a little bit earlier so that we could catch as many of the big matches as possible. We actually arrived just in time to see Adi's top 8 match, where he unfortunately lost to Zach Emerzian and dropped out of the competition. But we were there to watch the matches, and we spent pretty much the rest of the morning and early afternoon just watching the rest of the top 8 matches and the semifinals and the finals, where Gavin Michaels defeated Zach Emerzian to become Vancouver Regional Champion. Finals ended pretty early in the afternoon though, so we had time to go grab some lunch and then meet up with a friend at a park for a pleasant afternoon walk. We're on the ferry again now on the way home from Vancouver. The event was fun. I'm sure it was very well organized for the competitors, but from the perspective of a spectator, it was fine. There was definitely like a lot of things that could have been done differently. I'll want to know what you thought because you're even less interested in VGC than I am. But like there wasn't as much going on as I hoped, I guess, as I thought that there was going to be. And then just like the spectator viewing experience itself wasn't great. For one, like all three stages, like there was VGC, there was Pokemon Go, and there was the TCG as well. And all three stages were basically side by side. It was pretty easy for like the hype from a Pokemon Go or TCG battle. Like the crowd goes wild in one of them, and like it distracts us trying to watch the VGC battle that's going on at the same time.
Yeah.
The seating situation also wasn't great. They were just like loose seats, but the amount of space that was really available was good for like maybe 20 people watching, which was fine for the streams on day one, the like qualifier, the Swiss rounds. When it got to day two, and especially like the semifinals and the finals, there were way too many people there. For those battles, we were sitting closer to the back, so there was a lot of heads in front of us, and it's just like flat, right? So there's no inclination, so that to make it easier to see over people's heads. The screen itself was relatively small because it was like a projector screen. The contrast on it wasn't the best, so sometimes it was kind of hard to see what was happening. Yeah, and it wasn't like very high, so it was hard to see the details at the bottom of the screen, like the HP bars and so on, like that was at the bottom. And the commentary wasn't very loud either because the three stages were side by side. Like if they put the commentary too loud, you'd be hearing it from the other stages as well as from like the actual battle tables for the ones that weren't streaming. So like I kind of get it, but Pokemon battles can be kind of slow, right?
Yes, that I noticed.
Pokemon battles can sometimes be like a very slow burn before it gets exciting. The commentary is super important to making that engaging, and for the final we were sitting maybe 5 rows back, and like I was struggling to hear the commentary from there.
Yeah.
So how was it for you?
Because I couldn't see the HP bar and like what was happening with the Pokemon. Like I'm just looking at the Pokemon moving back and forth. And so they like take a hit and then, and so that's all I'm really looking at. And I can't actually see the effects of what's going on. So that, and then on top of that, not really being able to hear the commentary. Like there were a lot of moments where I was kind of just twiddling my thumbs because I have no idea what's going on. You also have that like prolonged period of time where nothing is really happening. When you're at home and you're just playing, that's not really a big deal. But if you're having it be something for spectators, which VCG definitely is, then yeah, that makes it a bit harder to be engaged with it.
Yeah, and like Vancouver Regionals, I think probably a relatively small event compared to even other regionals, but certainly like internationals and definitely worlds. There were only, I think, 132, I think it was, people competing in the Masters division for VGC. Probably over 1,000 people that like actually were there for the various things, but a relatively small tournament. Like still, like the spectator experience could have been a lot better. From what I've seen of like worlds and stuff, like they do a much better job at that. So maybe it's just because it's a smaller event, and so like they couldn't afford a big enough venue that would allow for the space to have better seating, louder speakers, better screens, all that kind of stuff. That could be part of the problem.
So with like my job, I had this sort of conference. Once a year there would be a conference and they would alternate where it would be. So one year it would be in Toronto, and then another year it would be in Vancouver. I was always so disappointed by the way the Vancouver one was set up, because we have the people and we have the resources to put on this really great, amazing show, but they're not allowed to do that. And so I don't know if necessarily that would be the case here, but like I feel like it's possible where, like, again, the West Coast kind of gets shafted because they think that the presence isn't here.
Would you be interested in going again next year or whenever it happens again over here?
Sure, why not? I mean, if you're still doing the YouTube thing, I definitely wouldn't go if it weren't for Libras. But love makes you do crazy things.
I don't know if I would be as excited to attend another one. Unless I know someone who's competing or something like that, or if circumstances change and I decide to compete. It was fun watching the battles there, but it wasn't that much better than watching it at home, just watching the actual stream.
Yeah.
So
I would be curious about like another city, how it's done. Yeah, just like I said, where it was like Toronto versus Vancouver for my thing. Like, is there a difference from city to city, and how they invest in putting together an event like this? So
we had a good weekend anyway.
we did. I bought cards. Oh yeah, that was the other thing too. It was like I was kind of disappointed that like the only thing that you could like purchase would be cards.
Yeah,
Like,
there were a couple of like plushies and other
Yeah.
card related things, but
it was available as prizes for people who were participating in the event.
right. Like now that you brought up the side events as well, right? Because that's what the prizes are for. There were side events going on to do with Pokemon Go and with the TCG, but like there were no like schedules telling us like what exactly was going on when. That was another thing. Like
Yeah.
we were anxious trying to get there, especially on day 2, because we didn't know what time the battles were actually starting. And like there was no real schedule for anything, and it would have been nice to know like ahead of time what the side events are, what time they start, what time the battles start. Like at least I have a general idea, especially for day 2, especially for finals, of like when the finals are expected to be on, so that you can plan around that.
Yeah.
Because there's not that much to do at the event. Like if you just want to go there to watch like the semifinals and the finals, for example, which are generally going to be the most exciting battles, you kind of just have to be there kind of early because you don't know when that's going to be. I've never done a vlog quite like this before, but I thought you guys would enjoy it. Before I go, I just want to say thank you to the new patrons who joined over the past month: Seth Poslins, Maxie Jones, Flora Kofea, and Walter. If you want to join them, check out the link in the description. I've actually got a Patreon promotion going on right now where you can get a special perk. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next chapter.
Buzz, buzz. Buzz, buzz. B-roll. Buzz, buzz.